so this is my NYX 2017 Face Awards entry, so let's just get on into it. I'm just taking a yellow eyeshadow as well as my NYX Total Control Cover Drops and the NYX White Foundation Mixer. I mix those all together to get like a yellowy skin tone shade, and then I just pat it out with a sponge. After that, I went in with a concealer, and I just put that underneath my eyes, on my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and my chin, just basically all the places that you would highlight, and I blended it out with a sponge as well in little patty motions. After that, I took some powder, and I baked underneath my eyes. I also put some on my chin, forehead, you know the drill, just all the places that you would highlight. I'm trying to make her face like pretty warm toned because I'm being very inspired by like all of the aspects that like people attribute to Aphrodite. So like for one of the things is like Venus, the planet. So I took some yellow eyeshadow and I just wanted to get like a warm tone on my face because Venus is a warm tone planet. I know, simple thinking, simple thinking. For blush and just like all over, I took the NYX Chromatic highlighter in Crushed Bloom, and I just like put that all over the place. It is so friggin' pretty, especially as a blush. It's just like, oh, it's so pretty. But I just like packed that on. Then I took the NYX Chromatic highlighter in Snow Rose, and I put that on my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, all over the place as well. After that, I took a like red eyeshadow, like a reddy eyeshadow, and I started to like contour and just kind of shade my face with it. I also took a like kind of tealy green shadow and I started to contour my nose with that and just really shape it. And I flipped it up on my eyebrows as well because I think that's kind of cute. After that, I went back in with that like warmy reddy shade and I just kind of contoured my nose some more. And yeah, I just like kind of shaded the orange into the green a little bit more. After that, I wanted to emphasize my under eye bags because like why not, you know? So I just flicked it like down where my under eye bags would be, and then I went in with a like pinky eyeshadow and I just started to like shade my face some more on my cheeks specifically, and then I went back in with a darker like tealy blue and I started to contour and really chisel out my face. For primer, I'm using the NYX Shadow Stick in Dangerously. I love this product. I just pat it on my eye, and then I took a like reddy eyeshadow and I pat that on my lid. Then I went back and forth in my crease with an orangey eyeshadow, and then for my outer V, I used a dark green like metallic shade, and I just really worked that in and blended it. Then I took the NYX Whipped Cream eyeshadow and I put that on my brow bone, and for the liner, I wanted like a splashing water thing happening, so I took a dark kind of tealy green and I mixed it with a mixing medium to make a liner, and I just made a like whole splashing effect, and there would be like dots coming off if the water was splashing, so that's what I did there. I also did the same thing on the lower lash line, and I worked a green eyeshadow into my inner corner, and I wanted to hit the whole effect of like sea foam on that splashing effect that I did on the eyes, so I went back in with a mint green eyeliner and I just like tapped it in to make it look like the water was splashing, and then I went back in with the NYX White Liquid Liner for a like kind of more intense highlight and like more like dots and stuff, and yeah, just kind of went crazy with it. There wasn't really like a structure that I wanted, I just wanted a really loose liner effect. For the brows, I went in with a lash glue and this like bright yellow like chunky glitter, and I also mixed it with a pink glitter, and I just went in with that combination for my eyebrows. And I put some like, what is it, paper on some lashes to get them like real intense looking and like sparky, so that's what that was. And I put on a little chunk of lower lashes on the middle of the bottom. Now for pearls, so I used a combination of white pearls and pink pearls because one of the things that symbolizes Aphrodite is pearls. So I just glued them on with lash glue, and now I wanted to add like a wing contour to the sides of my cheeks, which I really like how it turned out, because one of the things that symbolizes Aphrodite as well is like doves, so I wanted to do like white wings, you know what I mean? So I just like kind of filled in a chunk of my contour and I made like little kind of loops coming out of the shape that I made with white paint. I filled it in, and then I took a blue eyeshadow and I started to really like individualize each feather, and then I went in with a combination of pink and peach eyeshadow and I put that on top to shade it, and then I went back in with a dark blue eyeshadow and I really carved out those wings, and then I really like outlined them with the NYX White Liquid Liner, and I put the like little, you know, like feather thing in the middle. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean, like the line. And then I took a black eyeliner and I really started to like kind of lightly outline little certain areas of those wings. Once I did that, I went in with an orange eyeshadow and I went around each of the pearls because I wanted to make them look like they were like protruding out of my skin. And I went underneath the eyes with some more pearls and I just glued those down with lash glue, then did the same thing with the orange eyeshadow and just tapped it on. Alright, so now for the chest. So I think you guys all know where I like took influence from for this chest piece, that like Aphrodite painting that I think a lot of people know about when they think of Aphrodite, the one where she's like coming out of the shell. So I sketched out where I wanted like the sections to be. So for her, the shell, the background, and the sky, and I just sketched that out, and then I started to go in with some like light blue paint. I painted it onto the upper part of my chest and like my neck, and then I tapped it out with a sponge. To add like texture to the sky, I went in with these NYX cream paints, and I went in with the blue one first, and these like layer beautifully with water activated paint. They just work so well together. So I just tapped in those cream paints, the blue one first, and then I went in with the white one and I tapped that one in for like the cloud texture in the background. And it just, I don't know, I'm really happy with how it turned out. You know what I mean? So after that, I went in with my finger and the white cream paint, and you guys don't even understand, like, it was so fun to paint these clouds that I have in the background. It was, like, really fun to just, like, finger paint them. But I just took my finger and I went into the white cream paint and I just tapped them out, and it just got, like, a really nice cloud texture. And I made, like, 3 kind of main clouds. So I made, like, the big one that I'm working on right now, and then I made one on my one shoulder, and then one on the other shoulder, and yeah, it was just, that's how I made my clouds. Then I went in with the, this is like a blue paint, or not a blue paint, a blue eyeshadow, and I just started to really shade in the background, so like behind the clouds with some eyeshadow. I used just like blue tones of eyeshadow, so like I used a dark blue, I used like a tealy shade, and then I just went back and forth and like blended them all in. I wanted the one corner, so like the, I guess the right shoulder, to be a little bit darker than the left shoulder, kind of like a lighting effect. So I went in with like a darker blue on the right shoulder and just really started to shade that in. I also went in with a black and started to shade that in as well, just around the clouds, so that it would look like it's a little bit more, I guess, stormy over there. Then I went in with a yellow eyeshadow, the NYX yellow eyeshadow, and I started to put some yellow in the clouds as well, like the sun is peeking through. Now for the water, which was also pretty fun to paint. I took like an aqua water activated paint, and I just like painted it in the bottom, and then I tapped it out with my sponge, and I did the same thing on the other side, keeping away from the, you know, Aphrodite and like the landmass to the, what is it, left? I'm really bad with directions, but yeah, so I just like filled those in and then blended them out with the sponge. To add like texture and like highlights to the water, I went in with the NYX cream paint in white, and I just tapped it onto some of the areas of the water. After that, I went in with a little bit of the blue cream paint, and I just tapped that into the other side of the water. Now for some shading. So I went in with a dark blue shadow, and I just put that like around where the shell is and blended it out in like little flippy motions or flicky motions. And then I went in with a little bit of like an aqua shadow, and I put that like around where the highlight on the one side was, just to create more of like, I don't know, like a sea color happening. You know what I mean? And then I went in with a little bit of a dark green eyeshadow, and I just blended that on the very bottom of where the water is and where it's like closest to the shell, because I wanted there to be a very intense kind of shadow happening. After that, I went in with a little bit of my mint green liner, and I tapped it around just to make it look like there's like little splashes happening. And then I went in with a little bit of my pink water activated paint, and I colored in the base color of the shell. Now we're finally going to start on Aphrodite. So I mixed together like a skin tone shade with this like kind of tanny water activated paint, the pink and white, and I just got this like peachy shade, and I started to color in Aphrodite's body. I went in the bottom with a little bit more white, and yeah, I'm just basically laying down the first coat of paint for the skin tone. Then I went in with a little bit of white, and I started to add in some highlights to the skin. And when I like put them down with the brush, I blended it out with like little tappy motions with a sponge, a real tiny sponge, and that just really helped the color blend together. After laying down the first set of like highlights, I went in with a little bit of my like just strictly tan paint, and I just started to like lightly start to shade in some areas of the body, and I'm really just like building up the shading. So now I'm going in with like a brownie eyeshadow, and I'm just starting to build up some more of the shadows, and I also went in with like a more mauve tone shadow, and then like a very like light dusting, not like dusting, but like a light shading of like gray and blue and white, and I'm just layering these all up to get like all the tones that are happening in like the tones that would happen in a body. Now I'm just concentrating on the face. I'm going in and I'm laying down some highlights on the nose and like the eyes and stuff, and then I went in with a more intense highlight on that arm, and then I started in on the facial features of Aphrodite. And yeah, I just did her nose and her mouth, and then I went in with my NYX white liquid liner, and I started to lay down some like really intense highlights that I wanted to like pop a little bit. Once I got done that, I started to do her hair. So she has like orangey hair, at least in the painting, so I wanted to kind of replicate that, and it's just like flowing beautifully in the wind. So I'm bringing some that's like flicking out, and then some that's like flicking on her body. In the painting, she's like butt naked, so I wanted to like cover up, you know, like some parts of her, because I wasn't sure if I could just like paint a butt naked lady on my chest. I didn't know if there's like a rule for that. But anyway, I also put some highlights in her hair, and yeah, I just did a little outline around her body. Once I got done that, I started in on the seashell, so I put an outline around the seashell with like a darker pink, and then I started to shade in the seashell like ridges with a little bit of red, and then I went in with a highlight with the NYX Lip of the Day liquid liner, the pink one, and I just put like a pink highlight on the like shell where there would be like a little bit of a highlight. I also went in with the NYX white liquid liner, and I put a little bit more of like a pop and highlight up on the shell. And yeah, and then I went back in with my black liquid liner, and I started to like line her body a little bit more because I needed to line her legs. Once I got done that, I did the landmass that is on the, what is that, the left? Yeah, the left. I filled it in with the tan paint, and I blended it out with my sponge again, and then I went in with a little bit of green paint and just like blended that in. Going back in with my dark green eyeshadow, I wanted to like add more of a shadow happening in the landmass, so I'm just tapping some of that on there, and then more of the green paint to blend it in a little bit better. And that is like the finished look for the body. Then I went in with a little bit of like a nudie, like lip glossy thing, and I just like put that on my mouth, and I wanted it more like of an intense red around my mouth. So I went in with a little bit of a red liner for the lips. And that is my finished look. So this is my Aphrodite makeup tutorial, NYX Face Awards 2017 entry. I hope you guys liked it. If you like it, give it a like. If you guys want to subscribe, that makes me happy. There's also like a little bell, according to everybody, near the subscribe button that you can hit if you want to be notified when I make videos. That's pretty much everything. I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.